The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Terramina.
Welcome to OAA Now. Here I'm Sammy Terramina, blogger of the Dragons Insider blog of Inside the OAA, one of the hosts between 2 minutes on Orion Television. I'd like to welcome our friends hearing us on our local voice on SoundCloud and also those hearing us on Orion Neighborhood Television. Got here in this week here.
Yeah, back again.
A lot to talk about.
Oh, boy.
Recap. A lot of boys basketball stuff to talk about. We have districts this week. We're going to preview each district.
What a crazy
And
close to the
crazy
last week
close.
of the regular season.
Yes. If you're a Pontiac fan, you got to be just disappointed right now. If you're a Groves fan, you just can't get used to that buzzer beater. I mean, and then of course, but a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's look at last week's games before we talk the whole district.
We had a lot of talk up of some of the games, the key matchups. The one was
Oxford Pontiac. And what happened? What in the world happened to Pontiac? They had a home game inside Green Gym. I've seen the Twitter post saying like how big it was for them.
Yeah.
You know,
was it jammed? I mean,
it was jam-packed there, and then to go in there and lay an egg like that, to lose a game like that, to give up 76 points.
That's a lot, yeah.
You know, and to hear the fact that you had 3 guys that were kicked off your team that whole week, you know, to realize, and one of them was your starting center? That's horrible.
So what was the story behind that? I mean, I know you
got no fight.
Got no
no
fight.
I mean, how dumb was that? How dumb? That's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming
Because
in.
it sucks the air out of the room, doesn't it?
It takes the air out of the room. You're coming in to the biggest game of your the school's biggest game since they merged.
Yes, I was gonna say in the Phoenix history.
Yes, and you do that.
Mm.
You do that. And then you go in and play Oxford, and then you basically just lay an egg.
Yeah.
Particularly, the game was over in the first quarter.
Yeah, and what was the score at the end of the first?
23-6.
Yeah.
23-6. That's inexcusable.
That's a sign that the team was kind of gutted. I mean, after your starting center's gone, and you're going, uh-oh, and they just mentally.
And halftime, it was 39-19.
Mm. Hey. Give it to Oxford.
Yeah, I give Steve Laidlaw and that staff a lot of credit. And those players a lot of credit. You know, people ask me, you know, why don't you give Oxford a lot of love? You know, I say, dude, I give Steve Laidlaw a lot of love.
Yes.
I mean, like, Steve Laidlaw is one of the best coaches in our league, for goodness sakes. I mean, like, Steve Laidlaw's done a wonderful job with that team. Coming back to the Wildcat program after he was wrongly forced out, and then spent a couple years coaching with Avondale before coming back. But Steve Laidlaw's done a wonderful job, and that man deserves a lot of credit. If he's not, and everybody asked me if I had to give the coach of the year.
Yes.
Last week I said it was going to be Josh Schroeder. You know what? I take it back now. I have to give it to Steve Laidlaw because of what he has done with that team.
Yes.
19-1. You know, that's everything you got to say.
How hard, just the difficulty of doing that in the high school ranks, especially with, I mean, Oxford isn't known for going, hey, we're going to lose one game all season.
No, they're not.
You know, and to have what they've done and bounce back. I mean, they've had close games.
Yeah.
And,
they got some wins,
weathered
too.
those storms.
They got some wins, too, to say it. I mean, like,
solid
you
wins.
beat Pontiac twice.
Yeah.
You beat Ferndale
Yes.
once. You beat Lake Orion once. I mean, that's a strong resume there.
Yes.
I mean, you know, and then you got to look at, then, of course, you look at Pontiac, you know what I mean? On Pontiac's side, you finish 18-2, and you don't get anything.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the setup in the last week's pod, right? Someone's going to go home with a bag of lemons.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's Pontiac.
Yeah, and it's some of it could be self-inflicted with the off the field or off the court problems. That's unfortunate.
It's tough. It's really, really tough.
All that hard work they put in and kind of just
and to see that one incident decide.
Yeah.
Now Pontiac's got a chance to redeem themselves.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that in the next segment with districts.
Yes.
But when you look at the road for both these teams to lead to the blue title, I mean, for Oxford, it's has got to be very special for that program.
Yes.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
The other champions, of course, Adams winning the white championship. Adams was 0-2 to start the year.
Yes.
17-1.
Some injuries or nursing some injuries.
Major injury to Gunnar Walters and Austin Yearsay as well. They finished 17-1 in their last 18 games.
Great.
And
That's
now
fantastic.
they're finished 17-3, white champion. Red, Clarkston. They finished they started off 0-2.
Yeah.
Won 17 straight.
Yeah.
And now they're 17-2, rolling along. And then, of course, you have and let's look at these other teams. Let's look at the other buzzer beaters during the week. There were two buzzer beaters I want to talk about. The first one occurred over at Farmington. Over at Groves. It was between Groves and Farmington. Tariq Shepard, who was a transfer from Detroit East English Village Prep, basically shot a 30-foot shot and then it goes right in the basket.
So it was a swish.
It was a swish. And
how much time left? No time?
No time left.
Wow.
And basically
a true buzzer beater.
It was a buzzer beater. I mean, I've seen the film of it. I'm going, oh boy, this is another buzzer beating loss for Groves. This is probably the third one they've had this year. Now Groves has been on the right end of it, and they've been on the wrong end of it. So if there's a team that knows a ton of experience with buzzer beating success and heartbreaks, it is Groves. It is the Falcons and Benny White's team here.
Isn't there a point where you kind of just shake your head and said, can you control these sorts of situations? I mean,
yeah, you can control these things. Yes, absolutely.
Someone hitting a 30-footer. I mean, it seems like you'd be so keen to know that that potentially could happen to you that you would have every defensive measure in place to prevent it. But you got to give credit. Somebody sunk a 30-footer.
You got to give Farmington credit, but Farmington had a 13-point lead at one point.
Oh.
And Groves came back, took a lead late, and then Farmington just basically snatched it from their hearts. That's hard.
Which is
That's
worse?
Brutal.
Which is worse?
That's worse. That's horrible.
Leading the whole way. Oh, yeah, that's tough.
That's difficult. And then let's go to Oak Park, Lake Orion.
Yes.
That was another buzzer beater. Lake Orion started off up 23-9 at the end of the first quarter. And then Oak Park's assistant coach lets his team have it. Oak Park outscores Lake Orion, and it was 34-30 Lake Orion at the half.
Whoa.
So you could tell what that motivation got for Oak Park.
No matter what,
it got them back into the game.
Oak Park's not going away.
No.
Right? I mean, that going in.
Oh, I know that.
And
even with the issue with Malik Carr, he of course, what happened with him was unfortunate, as we talked about a couple weeks ago on the podcast.
About saying he's transferring and not, but it wasn't a distraction, and he's back in the fold. And
no, he's not back in the fold.
Oh, he's not in yet?
He's not. He was done for the year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where was I? I know we talked about it, but I thought it was just Twitter happy, and so he did remove himself.
He was done for the year.
Wow.
So
I was sleeping over here, I guess.
So when but back to the game. I mean, it ended up becoming a back and forth game, a game of runs. Lake Orion then increased their lead to 12. Oak Park came back, took a 3-point lead late in the game, and then Hunter Seitz answered the 3-point basket, and then of course ties it up at 66, and then of course it comes to the final seconds of the game. Of course, Drew Van Heck misses a basket. Nate Talbot just goes up for the rebound and just tips it in. No time on the clock. Lake Orion wins 68-66.
And that was on the road.
That was at Oak Park, yes.
Yes, so big win. I mean, the ups and downs with the scoring for the Dragons. I mean, this kind of, I think that gives them momentum going into the postseason to kind of woke them up a little.
I think it does, because when you look at what Lake Orion's been through this year.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
The
they've
scoring
been through a
was
lot of ups and downs. They were up early in the year. I mean, like, they looked like they belonged, and then of course there was a downward stretch where they had really struggling.
just
but
couldn't
now
score.
They just couldn't score. Actually, they couldn't defend. Period.
Well, the 3-pointers.
The 3-pointers,
them.
the 3-pointers were killing them, and then now the 3-pointers are still killing this team. Of course, they allowed 9 to Oak Park.
That's a lot.
And one to Devontae Edwards. Devontae Edwards, he had 31 points in that game against Lake Orion. He had 31. I mean, Nate Talbot had 35 points, 15 rebounds in that game. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. He could have had 40 had he missed a couple free throws.
Wow.
I mean, that's how insane that game went. So now when I look at, and then you got to look at Oak Park's side of things.
Yeah.
You know, they did knock off Ferndale University, blew them out.
Okay.
But now for them, and we're going to talk about this in the district segment, they got to go against Detroit UAD Jesuit, who could arguably be the best team in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, you saw that one coming early on, as soon as those brackets came out.
And the realization is, it could.
Do they have enough?
Do they have enough? That's the question. We're going to preview that next segment.
Yep.
But what team are you looking at heading? What team are you looking at in the district tournament?
Adams.
Why?
Just the way they handle themselves this year. You know, having the injuries and bouncing back and just rattling off the way they did and looking very strong doing so. They're the one I'm just keeping an eye on. I mean, it's between 1 and 1A, Oxford and Adams.
Okay.
Those are my two.
Those are your two you're keeping an eye on.
Yep.
For me, I'm keeping an eye on Groves because Groves is a team that they could, if they can get by Birmingham Brother Rice in their district in the opening game, I think whoever wins that game is going to win that district.
Ooh.
So we're gonna head on to a break here. We're gonna preview each district here on Oaa Now.
Music, weather, sports, and you.
Me?
Yes, you. You're listening to The Local Voice.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. Here I'm Sammy Timmy here with Ian Lockton.
Hey.
Let's preview the boys basketball district tournament coming up here.
Dude.
Starts off. We're filming this today on Monday here.
Yep.
It is going to be really, really interesting.
Yes, lot of great games.
Lot of
good matchups. Excited.
Let's look. We're gonna go from Division 2 to Division 1 now. Nick McCabe wrote his projections. He doesn't have any OA teams making the Final Four.
Really?
None. So, but I think
even Clarkston?
Not even Clarkston.
Wow.
So a team I think might have a very good chance to get to the Final Four could be Ferndale. And the reason why I'm high on Ferndale is because, you know, the transfer story with
they're all back?
No. But but you have Juan Rickman there.
Okay.
Taking over that team. They moved Ferndale out of that Birmingham Detroit Country Day district and put them in their own district to include a team like Warren Lincoln.
Oh.
Here's district. We're gonna go District 60 versus Division 2. You got Ferndale playing Madison Heights Lampier, Hazel Park taking on Ferndale University. The winner of Ferndale Madison Heights Lampier is taking on Centerline, and the winner of Hazel Park Ferndale University is taking on Warren Lincoln. When I look at the favorite in that district, it's got to be Ferndale, especially with the league they play in.
Yeah.
They've won 7 of their last 9 games. You know, they're
really gelling.
And they've really played a tough schedule. When you look at playing a team like Grand Blanc, that's never easy. They played Ann Arbor Skyline, who is not bad.
Yep.
Of course, Ann Arbor Skyline, they're in a really, really ridiculous tough district when you look at teams like Ypsilanti Lincoln, of course, with freshman
Rail
Emilio
splitters.
And then you have Ypsilanti, you have Belleville, Saline.
Yeah.
I mean, that's brutal.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of talent down there.
A lot of talent in that Belleville district. But when I look at the team that could give Ferndale problems, it's Warren Lincoln. The reason why I say Warren Lincoln is because when you look at this district, Warren Lincoln has any sort of talent on that team. I mean, they made the MAC championship game and the MAC I mean, they were in the MAC silver and bronze title game. They were 11-8 this year. Been very consistent, scoring 55 a game, allowing 55 a game. I mean, they have a ton of experience. So that may be the team I think is going to give Ferndale problems. It's Warren Lincoln.
Yeah.
Now, people ask me, who's your dark horse candidate?
Yeah, what do you got?
Because, let's see, Centerline's terrible. You look at Madison Heights Lamprey, they've had a down year. You look at Ferndale University, they've been up and down. I mean, so I asked myself this. Ferndale University could be up and down. I mean, they could be a surprise. They're a surprise.
Surprise somebody?
They'll get by Hazel Park. Hazel Park this year finished 2-17. I mean,
well, we didn't last year. We saw some crazy upsets too.
Yeah, we did.
You don't think that
not in this
Hazel
district.
Park? No,
not in this district.
They have one in them.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
I'm just poking the bear.
I know you're poking the bear, but not even close. I mean, I'd be shocked if Hazel Park did pull off the ups against Ferndale University.
Well, yeah,
because Ferndale University played Hazel Park early in the year and beat them. And Hazel Park, this is their last year in the OAA.
Yeah. Something to prove. No?
Had their last game in the OAA and got absolutely whooped by Oxford. So that pretty much says that story. Do you see anybody at Ferndale in this district?
No.
I don't either. I really don't either. Sorry, Warren Lincoln. Sorry, Abe's. I know you have Abraham Lincoln, the great Abraham Lincoln, as your mascot, but you're not getting by the Eagles. Sorry. Let's go to district number 61. This is at Birmingham Detroit Country Day. This is where Harrison and Pontiac are in this district. You got Clawson taking on Blueberry Hills Cranbrook Kingswood. You have Pontiac versus Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. Then the winner, Clawson and Blueberry Hills Cranbrook Kingswood, is taking on Birmingham Detroit Country Day. And the winner of Pontiac and Notre Dame Prep will take on Harrison. Now we got to answer ourselves this question. Where is Pontiac's heads at? After what happened against Oxford? Now, yeah, they knocked off Seaholm, but you got to wonder where this team's mental psyche's at.
And you thought going into that Oxford matchup that you would be dialed in, ready to go. That's the type of game that will set the stage for the postseason for you because, I mean, in a sense, you're playing for a championship, right?
Yeah.
Not even in a sense, you are.
You are.
You were playing for a championship, and you lost your focus. And off the court shenanigans did you in.
Yeah.
Can you right the ship?
This is a tough matchup for Pontiac, going against Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. Of course, we saw Jack Hannon, really big guy. He can dominate a game. Notre Dame Prep's played a really tough schedule. When you look at the likes that this team has played, I mean, they played the likes of Lake Orion, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Goodrich, Southfield Christian, Livonia Stevenson, and Avondale, and Warren Woods Tower. So that's not an easy slate for the Irish. That is not an easy slate. And then you look at Bloomberg Hills Cranbrook Kingswood, you know what I mean? They've had a nice year. They've won 13 games. They're on a collision course with Birmingham Detroit Country Day. Scott Bernstein of MI Prep Zone said in his top 10 teams when he wrote Pontiac's on a collision course with New Haven.
Ooh.
New Haven's very good. We've seen what New Haven can do.
So he's saying he thinks this was just a one-off. They're going to roll through.
One-off. They're going to roll through this district.
Wow.
I don't think it's that easy.
And where are they playing out first round?
Country Day. Birmingham Detroit Country Day. And I don't think it's going to be that easy for Pontiac.
Well, not after what we saw.
I mean, Country Day, they're coming off a 6-14 year. Saw departure of Julian Roper, who transferred to Orchard Lake St. Mary's. But if you're Josh Schroeder, how do you get this team refocused? Yeah. How?
Yeah.
How do you get this team refocused?
Well, sometimes it only maybe Oxford did it for them.
Maybe.
Woke them up. Like, we can't just roll into this and it's going to be automatic.
I mean, if you're Pontiac now, knowing that you didn't win a division, you won 18 games, and this is a given new opportunity here. You can go into a legendary gym and win a district here. This is an opportunity for Pontiac.
Yes.
But they've got to get by Notre Dame Prep. Notre Dame Prep's not an easy team. We saw that a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jack Hannon is the real deal. And I don't think Pontiac's got an answer for him. And I think that's a big problem going forward. I think if Pontiac, if they could knock off Notre Dame Prep, then I think the sky's the limit for this team because they're going to get by Harrison. Harrison's terrible. Harrison's awful this year. I mean, yeah, sure they won 7 games and all that, but can you? They ain't getting by Pontiac. They ain't getting by Notre Dame Prep. I mean, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and then
Pontiac's got to get their act together.
Yes, they do. Do you see them getting their act together in this district? Do you think they can win this district?
I agree with everything you said. Yeah, I think they can, but it all depends on. I mean, you have to go in deeper. Their starting center's gone.
Right.
Right. I mean, assuming for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you still got Dominic Stowell on that team.
Everybody else.
You got everybody else.
Okay. How impactful and did the offense run through their center? If it didn't run through the center, then I'd say they have a chance to adjust and do well. But if you have a center that's a dominant big man in the middle and you know that, you can run the offense through them if you need to, or if you need to change it up, you get some variety.
Right.
If you go one-dimensional, then they're going to have a problem.
Right.
If they have nobody
Pontiac,
to step in their shoes.
They got 10 seniors on that team. They're a veteran team.
Yeah.
They have to.
Well, that's the shocker, that the way they crumbled against Oxford.
Yeah.
You lose one guy, the team doesn't fold, or is there the whole, the offensive philosophy's rolling around this one dude, or the team just was so shocked it happened they just couldn't focus and were tripped out.
Then helping you down 23-6 to start the first quarter. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but they for that to happen, they have to have Oxford either shot lights out, and Pontiac came in rattled before the first opening tip.
I think that's had to be it. That had to be it.
They got to settle down. So they settle down. I think they should be okay. Missing one person should not make
it shouldn't.
That huge of a.
It shouldn't, because that's the thing. It shouldn't, but it did.
Yeah, I know.
It did.
And the way it did. I mean, if it came down to, let's say, maybe a 7-point loss or something like that, but that was
humiliating.
a beat down. Yeah.
So you think Pontiac wins this district?
They can. I think they have a chance to. Yes.
You still got Bloomfield, Cranbrook, Kingswood in there. You still have Birmingham, Troy Country Day in there. You have Notre Dame Prep. That's a very tough game for Pontiac to start off with.
I'll say this. I'll give Pontiac him a pass on that Oxford game, because usually you bounce back after something like that. You wake up, you get a fire under your shoes. And they know it's for all. This is important. It's postseason time. You better wake up.
I'll give them a pass here. They can't let this happen again. They're out. This happen again, or they're out. Okay, let's go from Division 2 to Division 1 now. Let's go to District number 30. It's going to be taking place at Utica 4. This is more of a Macomb County district.
Yeah.
But there's one OAA team in this district. You have Troy Athens taking on Chippewa Valley. Utica 4 taking on Stevenson. The winner of Athens and Chippewa Valley is taking on Mike Griffin's team over at Sterling Heights. My storyline here is, does anybody in this district knock off Sterling Heights Stevenson?
I don't think so.
Because Stevenson, ton of experience, won 14 games this year, have wins against Clarkston, Ann Arbor Skyline, Roseville, and Macomb, Dakota.
Yeah.
That pretty much says it all.
Good wins.
That says it all. And they're taking on a Utica Ford team that's basically, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Athens this year finished 3-17. They get Chippewa Valley. Chippewa Valley was a 500 team this year. Actually 11-9. Got some experience. Do you think Athens can knock off Chippewa Valley?
No, unless something weird happens.
And if Athens gets by Chippewa Valley, pulls out the miracle upset, then you got to deal with Mike Griffin.
Yes, I know.
Then you got to deal with Mike Griffin's team.
Yeah.
And Sterling Heights has won 7 of the last 10 games.
Yeah.
I mean, they finished the year. They were 7 and They finished the year 7-13 this year. But that team is starting to buy in to Mike Griffin's 2-3 zone. They love low scoring games. They're still giving up a lot of points though, but it's kind of interesting. Mike Griffin's 2-3 zone. You know what I mean?
That can be tough. If you're not used to a 2-3, it can be tough.
As I said, as I mentioned, of course, Griffin is no stranger to the OA. Coached at Lake Orion girls last year.
Mm-hmm.
So this 2-3 zone could be very athletic. It could be very dangerous, very similar to that of the Syracuse teams. Of course, learning from Jim Boeheim.
Yeah.
Who,
if you have length on your team and you can run a very good 2-3,
yeah,
it basically shuts down the point guards. And,
yeah, basically it shuts down dribble, drive, penetration, everything.
Yep, and you're relying on those mid-range jumpers, finding the open spot.
Find the open shots,
can you
open
hit
threes.
the 10, 12-footers? Can you hit them?
Can you hit them? That's the
question.
If
you can't, it's a long
And I think that's what Griffin's doing over at Sterling Heights is basically imposing that 2-3 zone, to full length. If he can do that, Sterling Heights is going to win a lot of games next year.
Yeah.
They could even win some games in this tournament. Sterling Heights is definitely fitting the bill for my dark horse.
Ooh.
That is a team to watch out for. If I'm like Athens or Chippewa Valley, I do not want to see Sterling Heights. I don't want to see Mike Griffin's team at all, because that man can flat out coach. He can flat out coach. I mean, I think Athens is going to have their hands full.
Yes.
No doubt about it. And I don't know if they can knock off Sterling Heights even as we mentioned earlier. So it'll be very tough to say that. All right, let's go from District 30. Let's go to District number 29. It's at Utica. You got on the small dinky gym at Utica High School. You got Utica Eisenhower taking on Rochester. Utica High takes on Stony Creek. The winner of Rochester versus Utica Eisenhower is taking on Troy.
Interesting mix.
Interesting mix, considering that. Surprised that Adams was not in this district, considering, you have Rochester and Stony Creek in there. And Troy's actually.
You think they just want to break them up a little so it's not an all Rochester district?
Well, last year was an all Rochester.
Yeah.
Last year you
Some
had
complaints. Or?
Last year you had Adams, Rochester, Stony Creek, Utica, and Utica Eisenhower. And we know the story with Utica Eisenhower. They had a rough year a year ago, but went in there and upset Rochester.
Yes.
Remember they had Hunter Schattler and LaMarco Gulich? Nobody saw that one coming. Nobody. And for Utica Eisenhower, this is a really dangerous team. Despite the fact they finished 10-10 and 2-8 in the MAC Red, they got a ton of experience back. That's for starters. Utica Eisenhower could be a very tough out. They could be. I mean, I think they're going to beat Rochester again. I think they're going to do that to them again. So, and then of course that winner's taking on Troy. Troy this year finished 10-10.
Oh,
but they have two very good guards in Clay Sebastian and Brody Parker. Brody Parker's had a string of 30-point games lately.
Whoa.
Clay Sebastian had a 27-point game against Oak Park. I mean,
so two guys carrying the load?
Yeah, 27 against Blue Bay Hills. Parker at 30 against Oak Park. So both those guys carrying the load for Troy right now. When you look at Gary Frelick's team, Troy has to be the favorite. But if there's one team that I am watching out for in that district, it's Stony Creek.
Yeah.
Because Stony Creek's an interesting team. They had a really off year, finished 9-11. They got, of course, some guys that can take over games. They got a great draw. They're playing Utica first. Utica's not good. They are not good. I mean, Stony Creek's got some players. They got experience, too. And if Pat Galley can get some experience in the interior here in this one, if he can be a force in that interior, Stony Creek could be really dangerous. I mean, Stony Creek's a team that I think could get to the final. And I know a lot of people in Troy are a little nervous if they play Stony Creek, because that could be a really good matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be. Depending if both teams get the district final. I don't see any reason why not. So, that'll be very interesting. Small gym, if it was Stony Creek against Troy. Now, if Utica Eisenhower can ruin things, so we'll see.
That's why I said it's an interesting mix.
It is.
You look at it and go, well, you have more than one avenue to say, hey, They could take it or they could take it. It's
But
an
I think the
interesting
weird
mix.
part is, where's Adams in this,
Yeah.
Now, we're going to talk where Adams is at because
That-
on TV will be where Adams is at.
Yeah, and that whole group is
That whole
an
group
amazing setup.
Uh-huh. That whole group's loaded. Let's go to Utica. Let's go to the district over at Detroit Mumford, District 25. You got Oak Park versus UD Jesuit, Southfield versus Redford Union, and then the winner of Oak Park UD takes on Detroit Renaissance. Then the winner of Southfield and Redford Union takes on Detroit Mumford.
Tough.
Yeah.
Might be an understatement. Tough.
Here's
Tough.
the storylines heading in. Detroit Renaissance is probably the biggest story here in this district. We know what happened with Vito Jordan, their head coach. We know what happened with them.
Remind the listeners.
Remind the
Do we
listeners.
want to go through all that again?
No. If you want to read it, you can read it on my blog here. I have it on the storyline here.
It was a soap opera, to say the least.
Yes. But they won 15 games. Made the Detroit Public School League final. Lost to Detroit Cass Tech, though. They had the coach of the year in John White. And they had the player of the year in Chandler Turner. That says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That says a lot. UD Jesuit has to be the favorite. They have to be. Anytime you have players like Daniel Friday, Caleb Hunter, Jalen Thomas, JT Morgan, Pat Donnelly's team's absolutely loaded. And when you look at it here, I think Oak Park and Southfield might have shots in this one, especially Southfield, because they have the talent. Daryl Buchanan's done a masterful job with this team. He's won 13 games, including big games, wins against Farmington, Southfield, Bradford, Groves, and Detroit Henry Ford. And they should get by Redford Union.
Yeah.
I mean, Cameron McEvans has been the real deal for this team. He's hit. I remember the buzzer beater he hit to beat Avondale. And that was insane. He has 2 buzzer beaters this year. One against Groves, one against Avondale. That's insane.
Yeah, usually don't see, in the high school level at least, one person have 2 experiences like that, or at least take 2 teams down that way.
Uh-huh.
But that tells you about the player. He's crafty.
He's crafty.
And you
he's
get in the
skilled.
right positions to make the right play at the right time.
He is talented. I'll tell you
Heck
that
yeah.
much right now. Now, I know his sister, Cheyenne, is a star player on the girls' team. But Cameron, my goodness, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Good athlete. Good athlete, too. I think he can lead Southfield if he can get by. It all depends if they can get. And I think Southfield's got a great draw. Really great draw. Because I think they can get by Detroit Mumford. Even though they're the host, I think they can get by Detroit Mumford. It's just that district at top side of the bracket with Oak Park, UD Jesuit, Detroit Renaissance.
Brutal.
Brutal. Just brutal. Do you think Oak Park's got a chance to knock off UD Jesuit?
No. I'm going to say no. Maybe. How about a maybe? There's always a chance. You never know.
I know Oak Park's got Fred Garland.
There's always a chance.
I know Oak Park's got Fred Garland, Solomon Johnson, Devontae Edwards. I mean, but come on. This is UD Jesuit. They got absolutely no answer for Jalen Thomas. It's going to be a long night for Oak Park. It's going to be a long night for them. But I think Southfield has got the chance in this district. They got a better chance in this district to do some damage. Okay, now let's go from the Detroit Mumford district. Let's go to the district over at Groves. Groves Brother Rice, that's the big one at 7 o'clock. Then you have Berkeley taking on Royal Oak, and the winner of Groves Brother Rice takes on Seaholm. Could this be Benny White's time to win a district for this team, as long as there's not a buzzer beater involved in this? Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, Brother Rice has played better. They got 2 transfers, of course, as mentioned. Zach Maynard transferred from Adams, and then they got another one from Detroit Country Day.
Oh, really?
So that's very interesting. But I know Ricky Palmer very well. He's a really good guy, good coach. Despite the record that they have, Birmingham Brother Rice, they play in a very tough league. You probably heard of the Catholic League, right?
Yes.
With the likes of Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, Nobody Detroit Catholic Central, and UD Jesuit.
Yep.
That's brutal.
No cupcakes in that schedule.
No. But you know my dark horse is in this district? Berkeley.
Really?
Berkeley. Yeah. Remember last year?
Yes.
Remember last year when I said about this team? I said about Berkeley, I said, like, this is like the tale of two seasons for them.
Yeah.
But they have managed to turn it around this year. They've had a good year.
Good for them. What are we looking at?
Berkeley this year's won 11 games.
Wow.
But thankfully for them, they're in a district where they're not in Wayne County. Thankfully for them, they are going north. And I think they can get to the district final Friday night.
Wow.
That's how confident I am in the Berkeley Bears. Royal Oak, I know with them, they've had a questionable year. I know Aaron Smith very well, but I've been very disappointed in Royal Oak this year. But I'm guaranteeing it right now. Berkeley Bears are going to the district final Friday night.
Guarantee?
Guaranteed. Joe Sermo, guaranteeing you're going to the district final Friday night.
Wow.
Write it down. Write it down.
Sammy, I haven't heard many guarantees out of you.
Yeah. That's my guarantee of the week.
Okay.
Now, they're either going to be taking on Groves or Brother Rice. Who do you think it's going to be?
Oh, jeez. Why not Groves?
You're going Groves?
Why not?
I'm going Brother Rice, unfortunately. I think Birdman Brother Rice, the way they're playing right now. But I wouldn't surprise me if Groves wins. Really wouldn't. They have home court.
Like we said, the postseason, you never know what's going to happen. You get some kids that all of a sudden turn it on when it matters. And sometimes you can get performances out of people that you do not expect.
No.
Right?
No.
We see it at all levels.
Yeah.
And that's why this time of year is so exciting, because on paper is one thing. I mean, you can, for the most part, during the regular season, you look on paper, you go, yeah, everything kind of just settles into place. But something happens when you get into the postseason. And all you have to do is get one inspired player, and it could change everything.
It could change everything.
Change everything for your team.
Let's go to District 18 at Novi. You got Farmington taking on Novi. North Farmington taking on Logan and Stevenson. Farmington winner, Novi winner takes on CC. And North Farmington, Livonia Stevenson winner takes on Northville. My storylines here is Farmington, as mentioned, haven't been themselves despite winning 15 games this year. It still has some vulnerabilities.
Think it's a mirage?
I think so. But we'll see. They're a dark horse team to watch, along with North Farmington. But North Farmington's issue's been big courts.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yep, ask Clarkston, ask Lake Orion that question. And Novi's got a big gym, as we talked about.
Yeah.
Do I think North Farmington and Farmington have any chances to knock off Novi, Detroit Catholic Central, and Northville? CC lost 2 or 3 lately, which has been odd. Northville, they're solid. They got experience, as well. But I still think CC has to be the favorite in this district over at Novi, considering that you have Brandon Swanee, who coached at Novi last year, now coaching Novi Detroit Catholic Central. And you have Northville, who is a team that has had a really nice year thus far and could do some damage in this district. So I think it's going to be a tough call for Tom Negoshian and, of course, Terrence Porter over at Farmington. I think it's going to be a tough challenge for both those teams in their respective districts. But I'm watching Yusuf Jihad very carefully of North Farmington.
Yeah.
I'm watching him very carefully because he's going to be the key to North's success in the districts. So we'll see what happens in that one. We'll see what happens. That's going to be a key matchup to figure out there in that one. Let's go to District 7. We got 2 more districts to cover here. District 7 is at Bloomfield Hills, starting off with West Bloomfield and Avondale. Then you have Orchard Lake St. Mary's taking on Waterford Mott. And the winner of West Bloomfield Avondale takes on Bloomfield Hills. Donovan Moore. We talked about West Bloomfield being a different team with him in the lineup. West Bloomfield went 0-8 without him. 0-8.
That's not even a, maybe.
They were 0-8 without him.
Wow.
And
there's a stat of the day.
That's your stat of the day, yes.
Wow.
West Bloomfield is 2-0 with them back in the lineup. Gives them balance, especially him and Robert Johnson. It really stabilizes West Bloomfield. Now you have a Bloomfield Hills problem because Bloomfield Hills can go and shoot threes on you.
Yep.
Anytime you have Ben Muntz, Mason Canfield on that team. Orchard Lake St. Mary's is the interesting one here because they won a district title last season. They have Wisconsin commit Lauren Bowman. They have Peter Nowicki, who is being looked at by several schools, including Oakland University. And, of course, Kareem Rozier, the brother of Jillian Rozier. Jillian will not be playing in this tournament because of the Orchard Lake St. Mary's eligibility rules.
Oh.
They have their own set of rules there.
Oh, boy.
So
well, yeah, the private school, right?
Yeah. So
that could be anything.
That could be, yeah. But I'm curious to see, does Avondale stand a chance here in this district? I think they got a shot. So does Waterford Mott, but Waterford Mott's got to play St. Mary's. Avondale's got to play West Bloomfield. Well, let's not forget what happened with West Bloomfield last year when they played Bloomfield Hills on their home gym. They were upset last year.
Yes.
So anything's possible.
Yes. And it seems like, is there one dominant team in that group?
No.
Like you're going, they're the top of the top.
No, there's
like,
not one dominant group.
I mean, you're looking at it going, and any one of these teams could beat anybody.
Yeah,
in that,
any team
that
can
group.
beat anybody in any given day.
Yeah, that's kind of a toss-up bracket there.
That is. It really is a toss-up there. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens at Bloomfield Hills, that beautiful scenery court over there. And then, of course, we have one last district to talk about here is the District 6 at Lake Orion. Oxford Romeo, Adams Clarkson. Winner of Oxford Romeo takes on Waterford Kettering. The winner of Adams and Clarkson takes on Lake Orion. Is Clarkson back? That's the question. Are they back to that state championship dominant? You think they are back?
Well, no. I'm agreeing with you that, yes, that's the discussion.
Yes.
I am not saying, yes, they're back. I mean, there's so many intangibles of last year's team that you cannot replicate that with this crew.
No.
Maybe in a couple years.
Maybe
next year, the way the scoring is rounding into place, rounding into shape.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be tough no matter who. I mean, we saw it. They rattled off how many in a row? They lost the first 17 straight. And in the red. And they're playing quality teams.
Yep.
I think they're the favorite, obviously, going in.
Have to be.
But there's no gimmies in this.
There's no gimmies in this one. You got 4 teams in this district. And I've been hearing a lot about this district. This district is brutal.
Loaded with
good teams in this district. You have the OAA Red Champion here. You have the OAA White Champion here. You have the OAA Blue Champion here. You have the OAA Red second place team in here.
Yes.
I mean, it's absolutely brutal.
Yes. I'm trying to remember when all the teams coming in where the pedigree was that, hey, you got the hardware, you have the hardware, and you were runner-up. I mean, when's the last time we saw something like that happen?
Never. Not a lot.
I mean, you usually have a top heavy. You got one heavyweight, then you have a couple.
This district is top heavy, and you have 3 teams in that district that are playing each other. You got Adams Clarkson, that winner's getting Lake Orion. I mean, that's going to be a really, really tough one. Oxford, people say Oxford's got the best draw here. They do. But Romeo is a dangerous matchup for this team, considering Romeo's played the likes of Lake Orion, Warren Mott, and New Haven. New Haven, of course, we know they have Romeo wings.
Yeah.
Warren Mott, they've had a really nice year. So when you look at Romeo, this is a tough team.
And Romeo, postseason, you never know with these guys. They're always tough, hard players, tough team to get out. We'll see.
We shall see. What you said you were watching Adams very carefully.
I am.
If Gunnar Walters and Ethan Immersion have the games of their lives, which they're more than capable of, this could be my upset trap. I think Clarkson has to be careful in this district because they got all the hype around that team.
Yes.
But sometimes, especially when it happens to young freshmen, when it happens to freshmen. Now, I know Fletcher Lawyer, Keegan Wasilic
they're not playing like
freshmen.
No.
But if they start getting the freshman jitters, that could be some trouble.
Especially if they keep it close.
Yep.
If things are close and they're trading leads back and forth,
that could spell trouble.
It can make you nervous. Or the freshmen start trying to press too hard, trying to do stuff outside the norm of what they've been doing.
If you're Clarkston, you just got to be yourself.
Correct.
If you're Adams, You know, the pressure, you don't have a lot of pressure on you.
You should play loose, man.
Play loose if you're Adams. If you're Clarkston, you got everything against you right now. You know, and if that crowd turns on you, that could be some trouble.
Well, the one thing, too, about Clarkston, what do we say? They don't beat themselves.
No.
Right? And
that's what it's been for football. That's what they've been for basketball.
All along. I mean, the fundamentals are there. They so strong on the fundamentals. They don't beat themselves. If that mantra holds true,
then they shouldn't beat themselves.
They should. They are the favorite for a reason.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we talked about Oxford.
Yeah.
We talked a lot Lake Orion. You know, we didn't talk much about Lake Orion here.
No. I mean, you have all these heavyweights in there, and you're going, oh, yeah, in Lake Orion. But taking down Oak Park on the road, that might raise some eyebrows and say, ooh.
Well, they've won 3 straight. They've won 3 straight.
So they're hot coming in.
They're hot coming in. You got Oxford, who's hot right now, 19-1 right now.
So what's the layout?
They have to be on upset alert.
So what's the layout again? Clarkston,
Adams. Winner gets Lake Orion. Oxford, Romeo. Winner gets Waterford Kettering.
Yeah.
Waterford Kettering. Yeah. I won't go there.
I'm shaking my head.
We won't go there.
It's radio. There's no cameras today.
I've seen Kettering play. And oh boy.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
So I mean,
they were 9-11 this year.
I mean, let's have some fun. Let's say Adams presses Clarkston to the limit. Clarkston prevails. They get Lake Orion, correct?
Yep.
Lake Orion pushes them to the limit. Do you think they'd soften them up for Oxford? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That could happen. But it
could.
I mean, they've got a...
But it doesn't say Lake Orion doesn't have a chance.
Do you think...
Lake Orion, I mean, it's always hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. Clarkson's beaten Lake Orion twice.
Yes, but look at the manner in which they did it.
Yeah, blowouts.
Blowouts.
That's because Lake Orion had issues guarding the
3. And you just said.
And both those games, Clarkson shot a high percentage from downtown.
Yes, and they have the guys to do it again.
I know they do.
I mean, it's not going away.
No.
The only bonus they have is they're in their own gym.
Yep, it's the only bonus.
And you know you're going to have a hometown crowd behind them.
Yep.
The crowd's been really good this year for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see them getting by unless something crazy happens. If they shut down the 3-point line by 50%.
What if Adams upsets Clarkson? What if Adams upsets Clarkson? That changes everything.
Well, yeah,
then
of
that
course.
throws this whole discussion out.
Yes, it does. But that's, I mean,
Adams has a chance. I think Adams has a chance.
They do.
And the reason why is Walters and Emerson have to go off. They have to go nuts. If Walters scores like 15, Emerson goes off for 25, who knows?
And has that happened? And also, look at the styles of play. Do they complement each other? Do they conflict with one another, right?
They do complement each other.
Right? So are they similar in style, or is one a defensive-heavy team, or you rely on the offense only to take you through, So that's the question. How do they match up? Did they meet up this year?
They did not meet up this year.
It's even tougher.
They did not meet up this year.
Because sometimes if you go down to, let's say, a first-round opponent in a tournament and you've already played them, at least you know the tendencies.
Right.
I mean, scouting's one thing. But head-to-head, completely different ballgame.
That's a whole other one. So we'll see what happens.
Do you have any wild predictions?
I'm not going to predict.
You had a guarantee.
I had a guarantee Berkeley's getting the district final Friday.
This is too crazy of a district to go, okay, I got it.
Yeah, I've talked to the ONTV crew who is going to be calling that game.
Yes, yeah.
And I gave them my previews, but I didn't do a prediction this week.
Okay.
If you want to look at my projections, who my favorites are, who my next team is, check out my blog at sammysemicolon.blogspot.com.
Yeah, and do so. There's a lot of good info in there.
A lot of good info. We're going to also do one for the girls as well,
awesome.
as their districts are next week as well.
Yes.
I mean, so that's going to be a huge one for the girls' side of things come district time.
Now, as far as media coverage goes, if you guys want to tune in and watch, if you have a NFHS, MHSAA account, you can buy per game or the season.
Yep.
So I believe all the games at the Lake Orion District will be televised.
Yes.
So I know we already got calls from Clarkston Independence TV over there saying, "Hey, get us a copy of the game."
But also, if you want to go to these games, you know what I mean?
Yeah, go.
You gotta go.
Please.
Yeah.
Please go.
There are a lot of good games.
Absolutely. Get in the room.
A lot of
cheer
good
on
games.
These guys.
A lot of good games.
And they're highly entertaining, especially this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's
the
March
quality.
Madness.
Oh,
It's March Madness. That's what it is. It's March Madness. I mean, you got this is a great time of year.
Absolutely.
Seriously, great time of year.
Ton of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's we're recording this at 1:30 on Monday, so we got
2:19.
We got 2:19 right now, so we've got 4.5 hours until tip.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for this district.
It should be really for all these districts.
For all of them, but the
all
Lake
of 'em.
Orion, I just can't wait.
Lake Orion one's going to be tough. I think Lake Orion one's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
But I still think, out of OAA,
Yeah.
the district at Belleville is
Yes.
mind-boggling.
Yes.
But then another game I'm watching, not in the OAA, is Carmen Ainsworth taking on Grand Blanc. That's taking on That's gonna at Davidson. That's gonna be a good one.
Yes. I mean, we're focusing on OAA teams and how that might impact, but these guys, those districts too, also impact OAA too because
they can meet down the road.
That's the roaring freight train coming from the other side.
Right, coming from the quarterfinal. Or
Right.
if you're looking at all these other teams, you know what I mean, dealing with the teams like a Belleville or Ypsilanti Lake and coming down south, they could be a threat.
Correct.
They could be a threat come later in the postseason tournaments.
Yep.
So
interesting week. I mean, a lot of exciting games.
My final thoughts this week, Ian. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we shall see what happens.
Do you have any? I mean, I know we're kind of looking forward. We didn't talk about the ladies just yet because we're going to preview.
We're going to preview girls basketball
next week, right?
When I look at girls basketball right now, I will have a column written up this week on the blog. So I will preview the girls this week. A lot of storylines there for the girls side of things. Considering is there any team that can knock Southfield off its manner? Detroit Mumford, Detroit Renaissance could.
Okay.
Those are two teams I'm watching carefully there in the girls' side of things. Stony Creek, that's another story right there. The district at Lake Orion with Waterford Kettering, Lake Orion, Romeo, Oxford. I mean, Clarkston in there.
Yep.
Clarkston's playing much better.
Yeah, they are.
So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
So I will write a column on that.
Okay. And then the thing, too, is I know since basketball is winding down, we're looking forward to the spring season.
Yep.
March is here. It's
baseball.
time.
I got an email about
Lacrosse
baseball this year.
Ooh.
I got an email about baseball this year, covering baseball. From one of our viewers.
Which Lake Orion baseball?
Yeah, no.
Or baseball, or just talking about baseball in general.
Just talk about baseball in general.
Well, we'll do the best we can. If the listeners out there have the hard part about doing this show, Sammy, you have so many contacts in the core sports.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part is trying to get information from these other guys, the other teams, and the results because it's with Oakland Press's sports coverage kind of diminished now. It's hard to get results unless the listeners out there can share with us what's happening with their teams, then we can report on it.
Yeah.
Be a part of our network. Get out there if you know there's a website we can take as a resource. Send Sammy the game results so we can at least comment on it.
Yeah, I mean,
we can only do what we can do here.
Yeah.
And we set up just so you know, Sam, and the listeners out there, we've set up, ON TV has set up our spring sports schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to try to cover the usual stuff, some lacrosse. Baseball is not going to be in there, but softball, again, will be soccer, of course. Track and field, we're going to try. Obviously, we have
the regional.
We got the regionals coming to Lake Orion, which is a huge event. But there's also some OAA implications. They changed the OAA championship meet in the red to go the red and white combined.
Mm-hmm.
That was new to me. But so we have our schedule made, and if you're interested in keeping up on that and watching games and things, tune into ON TV. Also, OCTV to the north of us will be covering a lot of games.
Independence as well.
And Independence. So we got these access centers up and humming and bringing you as much game coverage as we can. And, of course, Sammy's the resource here at OAA Now.
All righty. I'm going to sign off here. Yep. I'm going to sign off here. Stay tuned to the games this week here. Keep an eye on the blog here this week. All right, now I'm Sammy Toomey here. I'm going to sign off here. Take care, everybody.
See you, Sam. OAA Now is produced by Sammy Teramian, and the views on this show are his and his alone. If you'd like to make your own podcast like Sam and I here at the OAA Now, give us a call at ONTV at 248-393-1060. Podcast classes are now enrolling. Just a 2-night course for $25. Are you kidding? That's cheap. Get in here, make a show. That's it for OAA Now for this week. We'll see you next time. See ya.